So we'll move into the issues of anti-corruption, which is also one of the major agenda of the government. Now, the Transparency International released a report which is perhaps not good, is the worst in so many years for the country. And in comparison, Nigeria is not looking good compared to some other countries in sub-Saharan Africa. As it stands right now, is the government disappointed, perhaps, in its own approach to fighting corruption?
No, the government cannot possibly be disappointed because the government does not need authentication of what it is doing, particularly from an outside body. What the government needs is the authentication of Nigerians, and Nigerians know that the anti-corruption war is well and alive. Talking of the political will to fight corruption, that will is there and it is being displayed and Nigerians know it. So Nigerians don't actually need an outside body to authenticate the anti-corruption war.
Even like the Transparency International, perhaps, does the government think that it is a wake-up call for it in its major agenda?
It couldn't be a wake-up call because that awakening is there already. What you do when this kind of report comes is that you look at it dispassionately. Are there lessons to learn? Are there germane areas of that report that you need to look at? And you look at those areas and you continue with what you are doing. You may not throw away the entire report. You take whatever is good and whatever can influence what you are doing positively.
But what have you taken away from that report?
Yeah, I have a number of takeaways. One is that you don't throw away a report wholesale. Look at it and look at what you can pick. Two, there were 9 areas that were assessed in that report. In 8 areas, Nigeria remained either at the same level or moved forward slightly. It is only in one area that Nigeria dropped. That area is called the Economic Intelligence Unit Country Report Service. In that area, Nigeria dropped. So we need to look at it. That singular area where Nigeria dropped 17 points and which placed it in that position, what truly happened? It will be considered. And whatever is the result of that consideration, I'm sure it will still affect and influence the anti-corruption war that is going on in the country. And then again, my third takeaway is that when a country receives a negative report, it is not necessarily a government that receives it, it's the people. So if anybody is gloating and rejoicing that Nigeria has dropped, so to speak, it is not the government, it is the people. So it's the people of Nigeria that need to bear that brunt if we want to take the report wholesale. But we're not taking the report wholesale because we know that it's just a perception and the reality, stark reality, is different from that perception that has come from Transparent Initiative.
I would like to ask you 2 questions before we round up this conversation, this segment. And the first one is this: do you think the strong criticisms of people like Dr. Obi Ezekwesili and former President Olusegun Obasanjo of this government could be responsible for this kind of perception and this drop or this report that Transparency International released?
It does not really matter. It does not really matter whether anybody has criticized and they have influence with Transparency International or not. It does not really matter because that report is just a report. And government will look at it and will continue to do what it is doing. So the opinion of individuals do not matter in terms of authenticating the war against corruption.
Finally tonight, Mr. Adesina, the questions a lot of critics of this government are asking is that why are some major issues not been taken up in terms of prosecution? For example, the issues of the grass cutting scandal, the issues, especially ones that has to do with people in the government who has worked for the government. The Maynard Gate is still there. These are very crucial issues. The question is, what answer does the government have to how these issues are being handled? Perhaps this could be the responsibility, or what is responsible for this report.
I wish you were talking to the Attorney General of the Federation. He will give you a true position on that. But as a layman, somebody who is not legal, I can say that you don't rush to take cases to court unless you have what lawyers call a prima facie case, a case that can stand the rigor of prosecution. Otherwise, you stand the risk of the case being thrown out. Therefore, the agencies investigating need to be thorough, need to be painstaking. And when they get to a point that they feel that, yes, this one can stand judicial scrutiny, it can stand the test of prosecution, then they take it to court. I think it's good for them to take their time before they take cases to court.
Many thanks, Mr. Femi Adesina, for your time on the program today.
Thank you.